It's about 10:30 on Saturday morning, and right now the visitors' changing room at the Memorial Ground in Bristol is looking pretty empty. But have you ever wondered what goes into transforming your team's inner sanctum from looking like this to looking like this? A club's kit man sees it all, and we followed Bradford City's all the way down to Bristol Rovers to see what goes into providing for a professional footballer on a match day.
There you go. These hot shirts.
Our story begins on Friday morning and daybreak in Bradford. Bantam's kitman Graham Duckworth is already hard at work as City prepare to head south in search of more precious preservation points at the bottom of League 2. Bradford will train in Bristol the day before the game, meaning Graham clocked on at a far from enviable hour.
I were at the club at 5 o'clock. I had to make sure they were all training kit, because they have their own training kits, but because obviously I'm training down there, we don't put numbers on, so we're a blank kit. So obviously you don't know what prying eyes are looking at you. So we put a kit in for them and everything, so they've got to have like a wet top, sweat top, t-shirt, shorts, socks and everything.
But it's not just shirts and socks. There are plenty of other areas to be considered for the most demanding of clientele.
The players want more. They want everything, to be honest. You've got to look after them. You've got to make sure if they ask for it, you've got it, because you don't want no negativeness. If they get a negative vibe in their head, it can come across as like as an excuse sometimes, can't it? Unfortunately.
So with no stone left unturned, it's job done for now, and off to Bristol. With 5.5 hours to go, there's plenty to prepare on Saturday morning. On away match days, Graham is given a helping hand by goalkeeping coach Kevin Pressman. When did you become his assistant, Kev?
When I first came here, that was part of my criteria when I met G first time.
His racing stakes, haven't you?
I thought I was coming as a goalkeeping coach, but he said no, the roles and responsibilities exceed that.
Between Graham and Kevin, Bradford's home from home is really beginning to take shape. The role that Graham took sole responsibility of this season is something he takes great pride in, and one that's taught him a lot about his beloved Bradford City.
When you sit in the stand, you'd think to yourself sometimes, oh, those players don't care, but you have to sit in the dressing room and you see how much it does hurt the players and the staff. Obviously, it hurts everybody, you know what I mean? And then obviously being a fan, seeing a set-up in the changing room, it's absolutely fantastic.
Pressman is a veteran of almost 600 league games and says a kitman's fine work often goes unnoticed. Although in Graham's presence, the banter definitely takes over.
Coaching staff.
Don't blame me, I wasn't looking to do it, I was looking after my goalkeepers.
It's kind of a minute, you know.
Well, I need to put some music on, don't I? Because
you can put some music on.
You're boring me to death.
I've experienced as an apprentice when I was younger. That was part of my job, and then I've been fortunate enough to where I've played in my career to have the kit men and their assistants, and it's something that you don't realise, and a lot of people, and I include myself, take for granted when I was a player. It's when you cross over to the other side and you start seeing the things and the bits and pieces they have to do, the hours they have to work, the things that, like I say, is put upon them on a regular basis, which is beyond what they really should be doing, but they do it because they know it's the right thing.
At around 1:30, City skipper Craig Fagan leads his team into the Memorial Ground, and the visitors' dressing room is primed for both players and staff. By 2 o'clock, Pressman has gone back to the day job, and Graham can have some brief respite before kick-off. As vantage points go, his isn't too bad. But the boyhood Bantam was certainly not enjoying the game once Lee Brown had given Rovers an early lead.
What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Stand a little taller. Doesn't mean no lonely.
Another defensive lapse early in the second half opened up a clear path for Elliot Richards. 2-0. Phil Parkinson looked to the bench for inspiration, and Graham has a role to play in organising the substitutions. The visitors came close to producing a fight back, but ultimately had nothing but dirty kit to show for their efforts. For the players, time to lick their wounds. For Graham, the hard work continues as they look to get back on the road ahead of the daunting trip to Yorkshire.
We like to get away as quickly as possible, but obviously after today's result, it took a bit longer after the game, but now it's all clear and it's all packed and we're just ready to go now. Take us about 3.5–4 hours to get back and then all start all over again.
Next up for Bradford is a game against high-flying Crawley Town. The form guide won't favour City, but at least they'll be dressed for success.